Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 4 of the 6-week conversion hacking challenge. It's officially week 4, which means we have officially passed the halfway point in the challenge. The last 3 weeks, we have really been putting a heavy focus on the front end of your website, meaning homepage and above the fold and navigation and stuff like that, and really the first couple steps in the purchase journey that your customers go through when they first land on your site. And now that we've passed the halfway point, we're really going to start digging in deeper to those further down the funnel pages on your site, to the places where your customers get closer and closer to the purchase. So for week 4, we are looking at your catalog pages or your product listing pages, or whatever you call them, the pages where you have all of your products listed. And we're going to talk about optimizing those pages in order to get more clicks through to the product detail pages. So we will start with going through the blueprint. All right, so here is the week 4 blueprint, all about catalog. I sent this out this morning about 9:30 Central Time. Check your inboxes if you haven't gotten this yet. You can go straight to the website and download it, as well as all the other blueprints are also on the website to download. So we'll start going through this. Like I said before, the catalog page is a little further down the funnel than what we've been focusing on in the past. The catalog page is the step right before the product detail pages, and these pages are really important because they're really the deciding factor in whether or not a customer decides to move forward to look at those product detail pages. And that's really the ultimate goal, other than getting a purchase, is getting someone to click through to that final step of looking at the details and deciding to add something to their cart. So the catalog pages are super, super, super important in that they need to deliver just enough information and intrigue to get someone interested to click through to that next step. So everything in this week's blueprint is going to focus on getting more engagement with your product listings and getting more people to either add to cart directly from the catalog page or click through to the product detail page to view more. So the first test for this week is 2 products per row on mobile. Past tests have really shown this to be the optimal layout when you have a grid format, which is the best format to have, by the way, grid versus listings. So on mobile, I would not put more than 2 products per row, and on desktop, I wouldn't put more than 3. This is just the easiest way for consumers to consume everything on your page. Any more than that, and it becomes too cluttered, especially on mobile. 1 or 2 is really the most that you can do per row. Otherwise, the images get too small, the text gets too small, and it gets really hard for anyone to really understand what they're looking at or really be able to engage with your products. So if you have any more than 2 products per row on mobile, I would suggest cutting that down to 2 or even 1 to make it easier on your customers to flip through everything. And here's some results from a past test where I ran this: 2 products per row. It increased click-throughs to PDPs, which is product detail pages, by 12%. So 12% more people were clicking through to detail pages and looking at these products when there were fewer things per row. It also increased revenue by 12%, a little bit more than 12% too. Secondly, we have remove prices. So this is one that I think a lot of people haven't heard of before. Maybe you have. It pertains mostly to luxury or high-end stores, but I think it works just as well for lower-end priced items as well. So the reason it works really well for luxury stores or higher-priced items is that a lot of times price can be a deterrent for people. Now, obviously, if they can't afford it, they're not going to buy it no matter what. But if they can afford it, then leaving that price until the very last step, which is the product detail page, really gets them farther down the funnel as far as they can possibly go before they learn the price and they're almost already committed to buying it. So they see it maybe first on the home page, Then they see it again on the catalog page, and then they make that decision. They're like, oh, I'm interested enough in this item that I actually want to click through to find out how much it costs or find out more about this product. So subconsciously, they're already half committing to buying it before they click through, before they learn the price. If you show the price up front, it's harder for them to subconsciously commit to wanting it. Sometimes that price is a deterrent. So keeping the prices off of the page, or at least minimalizing them, sometimes even removing the $ or the currency symbol can help with that too if you want to leave the prices. Sometimes you'll notice if you go to like a high-end restaurant, they will leave prices off of the menu or leave prices off of drinks, or if they have the prices, they won't have the $ next to them. And these are just subconscious psychological pricing tactics that work anywhere, not just online, but anywhere that you see a price, leaving it until that last step makes it more likely for someone to purchase. So if you have more expensive products, this can be a really great test to run. But even if you don't, even if you sell cheaper things, I found that sometimes it works for stores like that too, just because still you are getting someone to that last step before they find out the price. And if you have low priced items, that can be a pleasant surprise. People usually they will associate not seeing the price of something with a higher priced item. They'll think to themselves, oh, they're not showing the price. That means they don't want me to know what the price is. That means it's probably really expensive. And then they'll click through to the product detail page and finally see that price and think, oh, wow, what a pleasant surprise. It's actually lower than I thought, and end up purchasing because of that. So at the very least, definitely test this out, run half of your traffic to pages that don't have the price and half to the pages that do, and see who converts the highest, because I really do think that it can work for any type of store. And here's some results for this particular store. These are higher priced items. These clothing items, you can see they're, anywhere from $400 to $900 per dress, which is very high. But removing the prices from the catalog page increased click-throughs to product detail pages by 29%, and then overall revenue increased by 15%. So works really well for luxury. I think it works well for all types of stores. Adding color options. So like I was saying at the beginning, getting more engagements with your products on your catalog pages is the main goal here, getting more people to look through your products and decide whether or not they want them. So one great way to do that is if you have products that have different color options, different sizing options, or any kind of different option, adding some sort of grid. So in this example, you see there's dresses here. They obviously come in a bunch of different colors, so we added in some color swatches below each dress, as well as, so this store in particular had like way too many color swatches to show on the catalog pages. This dress has 69 different colors, so we couldn't show all of the colors. But we did show the first 3 color options and then listed that they had, they already had that listed, 69 colors, but we added in the color swatches so that when people look at these dresses, they can click on these different color swatches and see how the color changes. And then they see that, oh, it comes in 69 other colors. So if they're interested in that dress style and they think, oh, maybe it comes in pink or yellow or whatever, they might click through to find that out. So that's a great way to drive more engagement with your products, and let people know that what they see in that first image is not all that's available. Sometimes people will assume that. They see an image and they think, oh, it's blue, I hate blue, I wish it came in pink, but they don't know that it comes in pink until they click through. Letting people know up front that it comes in pink can help them move forward in that purchase funnel. So I have here, there's a great plugin for Shopify that will add these in directly for you pretty easily. There's also some custom code here that you can do it yourself for free on Shopify, and then a plugin for WordPress/WooCommerce. Quick view and expanded view, again, great way to get engagement with your products. And this, I think, works particularly well for male shoppers. Male shoppers in particular really like a streamlined shopping process. They like to find their products as quickly as possible, decide whether it's the best thing for them as quickly as possible, and then purchase as quickly as possible. If you've ever gone shopping with your husband or boyfriend or dad or brother, you'll know they like to get in and out and as quickly as they can. They don't really like, I mean, you know, there are obviously exceptions to every rule, but on average, male shoppers like to do things quickly. So if you have a predominantly male-based customers, adding Quick Shop can help you raise their conversion rates just by allowing them to get things done as quickly as possible. Obviously, it works for all kinds of shoppers. Women like Quick Shop too. And it allows you to really look at the details of the products that you're interested in without having to flip back and forth between product detail page back to the catalog, product detail page back to the catalog. You can really look at 4 or 5 different items that you're interested in really quickly without flipping back and forth. You're still on that catalog page. So, and these particular ones allow you to add it to the cart directly from the quick view too. You can view all the different color options, all the different sizing options, view all the different images. It's really just a mini version of your product detail page in a pop-up window. So like I said up here, quick shopping, it leads to happier customers. Most e-commerce shoppers are on mobile. 85% or more of e-commerce shoppers are on mobile devices at any given time. And mobile shoppers have a very low attention span. They likely don't stay on your site longer than 2 minutes. You can look at your own analytics and see what your own mobile average session rate is, but most mobile shoppers, they leave between 1 minute and 2 minutes, sometimes even less than that. And so you have a very limited time window to get people through that purchase funnel. And so providing them with this quick shop just makes that process move quicker, allows them to add things to their cart quicker, and increases your conversion rate. So for example, we ran this test on this store here, added the quick view, and it increased click-throughs to product detail pages by 13%, and it also increased revenue. I don't have those stats here, but anything that increases click-throughs to product detail pages is going to increase your revenue because people are getting closer to that purchase decision. So again, I do have plugins here for both Shopify and WordPress, as well as custom code that you can use for free on your Shopify store to add this quick view option to all of your products. Optimizing your main CTA. So this is a really easy one. It doesn't really require any code or plugins. It's just all about changing the text on your CTA buttons. So if you have CTA buttons, if you don't have CTA buttons, rather, on your catalog pages, I do recommend adding those in just because they do, they call people to take action. They say, hey, click on this product, look more at me. If you don't have that, you're still able to get clicks on the products, but it's not a clear call to action for that shopper. So first things first, add in those CTAs if you don't have them, and then really try and optimize the language on those buttons. Test different variations of shop now, view product, see details, view now. Different language works for different audiences, and you're never really going to know which CTA is going to work the best until you test it out. You can also test different colors. Make sure that it stands out on your page is the best way to go with that. And in this example, we did not even have the buttons in the first version. So we added in the buttons and had them say shop now. And it had a small increase of visits to product detail pages of 5.8%. But it also increased add to cart by way more than that, by 22%. So just adding that call to action really got people farther down the funnel a lot easier. And again, this doesn't require any code. You should just be able to edit the text on your CTA buttons via the normal settings on your store. Secondary image on hover. This is another great engagement driver. If you show people different versions of the product when they hover over an item, it creates more interest. It shows them different views of the product or different uses of the product. There's many different things. If you sell clothing, you can show the front and the back of a shirt or on and off of a model. Same with jewelry, on and off of a model. If you sell kitchenware or housewares, you can show them in the box or just like on a table, and then also you can show them staged in whatever area of your home that item would be used. Really, no matter what you sell, there's obviously more than one way you can show something, and just in creating that little bit of intrigue, showing two different sides of something when you hover, will lead someone to see even more pictures. They'll think, okay, I saw 2 pictures. I'm interested in this. Let me click through and see the rest of the pictures. So if you're doing this, make sure you also have, more than 2 pictures of your products so that when they click through, they do have more to look at. In this example, you can see on the top here, we had no secondary image. And then down here, this dark red girl's loafer, when you hover, we added in just a second image. So now you can see the shoe just staged in a photograph, and then secondary image is the shoe on a model. There is a plugin for this for WordPress and Shopify, and I also did some custom code for Shopify as well. It's really easy just to add in. You just upload whatever the second image is, and then add in this code here, and it'll pop up for you. Best sellers and featured banners. So when people are shopping, like I said before, they don't stay on the site for very long. They like to look through things as quickly as possible. They usually don't make it through all the pages. They're not going to click through. If you have like 5 or 6 pages of products, they're not going to make it to page 6 most of the time. Some people don't even make it to the bottom of the first page. They just like to quickly look at things, and if they don't see anything on the first page that they like, then they're gone. So if you have best-selling products or high-converting items in your store, the best thing that you can do is to feature those at the very top of your page, or at the very least, add in these banners. So if they catch the eye of someone scrolling down your page, you can see bestseller or top pick, or if you have a sale going on, 20% off, things like that, so people know that that's an item that they should be interested in. It's really hard for things to get lost in the monotony of your catalog pages as people are scrolling, especially if you have items that are all very similar in style, or that kind of just blend together. People don't know what to click on. So putting a bestseller banner might think, oh, okay, other people are interested in this, or oh, this is on sale. Drive more people to click on that, and you'll get more sales that way. There's a plugin for both Shopify and WordPress here. Persistent sort and filter menus. So we talked about this concept a little bit when we talked about navigation. We talked about how persistent navigation or sticky navigation follows a user as they scroll down the page, and how that can help them find what they're looking for or navigate to other pages easier and quicker without having to scroll all the way back to the top of the page to engage with your navigation. So the same kind of concept applies here on your catalog pages, especially if you have really long catalog pages. People who have scrolled halfway down the page might soon realize, oh my God, there's a lot of products here. I really should filter these down to try and find the best one for me. And if they have to scroll all the way back to the top to do that, and then maybe they start scrolling and then, oh, they want to change what they filtered, they have to scroll all the way back to the top again to do that. It's very time consuming. It's kind of a pain. It's gets in the way of the shopping experience, and it kind of halts what they're doing. It gets in the way of what they're scrolling through and looking at, and to make it easier on them, there's a word I'm looking for and I can't think of it, so to make it easier on them, you can make these sort and filter menus persistent. That way, like the navigation bar, it follows them down the page. So a user is halfway down the page and they realize they want to filter something, it's right there in front of them. They just have to click on that filter or that sort button and change their filters or add in their filters, and they can do that as many times as they want, no matter where on the page they are, and it makes it a more seamless shopping experience for them. So on mobile, this is what it would look like. You would have it stuck to the top of the page, kind of like a navigation bar. On desktop, you would do it a little bit differently. You can do it this way, but on desktop, it's a little more user intuitive to have them on the left-hand side, on a sticky left-hand side rail. So you can keep them on the left-hand side and then just make sure that they don't move as the user scrolls. They can just go to that left-hand side and edit their filters whenever they want. There is a plugin for WordPress for this. I couldn't find a really good plugin that I liked for Shopify. There might be one out there, but it's really easy to really make anything sticky. It's a very small amount of code that you just have to edit in the CSS. You can make literally anything on your site sticky. So I just put in some code for Shopify here to make it easy on you. Again, there might be a plugin out there, but you really don't need one. You can even use this code that I have here for Shopify for your WordPress store or any store. It's just a little simple edit for your CSS. So I would recommend using that first. Number 9, move out of stock items to last or the bottom of the page. So again, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people are scrolling through your page. They're not going to make it to the very end of your pages a lot of times. So if they're just looking at that first page or that first couple of pages, and you have quite a few items, or even just a couple items that are out of stock, that can really halt the shopping experience. 2, because if people see an item that they're interested in and they click through just to find out that it's out of stock or not available, that can be frustrating. And if it happens again and again and again, they're probably going to give up. They're going to think, oh, all these things that I want are out of stock. I'm bored of shopping here. I'm going to go look for things that are in stock somewhere else. So you can avoid that by either using this test up here with the banners, putting an out of stock banner on them so people know not to click if it's out of stock, or you can just remove them altogether. This is really easy to do in Shopify. I think it's just a checkbox that you can check on your product pages saying don't show out of stock items. I think that's the best way to go, is to just not show them at all. But if you'd rather at least show them, you can also just move them to the bottom of the page or the last page so that people don't see them as often, or they don't get in the way of your in-stock items. So there's instructions for Shopify. I think these are just instructions on going to find that checkbox. There's also a plugin for Shopify. This plugin will move your out-of-stock items to the bottom of the page or the last page for you automatically, and same with instructions for WordPress. And then finally, number 10, I think I started talking about this above when I started talking about the banners, but this is a similar test to that with your best sellers, moving these to the top of the page. So you can either create a dedicated best sellers widget at the top of your catalog pages where people can kind of scroll through your best sellers in a persistent menu, or you can just auto sort your products by best sellers or highest converting upon a page load. So you're obviously going to have those filter and sort by menus where users can change what the products are sorted by. They can sort it by alphabetically or whatever it is. But upon the first page load, before they've even interacted with that sort by menu, I recommend automatically sorting your products by highest converting, just so that your best products show first. You get those best converting products, those most likely to be bought products, in front of your customers first and as quickly as possible, so that they don't have to find them on their own. Hi, Eamon. Andy has a question too. With out-of-stock products, I'm curious. I've been leaving them showing because of links. If someone clicks through and they aren't available, they'll get a 404. Is that better than clicking over and being out of stock? No. So that's a great point. If you leave them, they get a 404. I would say it's definitely preferable for them to be able to click through and actually view the product if it's out of stock. So in your case, I wouldn't remove them. I would just go ahead and move them to the last page or the end of the page if you have more than one page. So that way they're still there. People can still click through and see the product details without getting a 404, but they're not getting in the way of your in-stock items. They're left to last. You can also, I would recommend putting on those banners, those out-of-stock banners on the corner or the bottom, so that people know before they click through that it's out of stock. And next week on the product detail page blueprint, I'll talk about another test that I recommend, which is putting some language on your product detail page to allow people to pre-order or put themselves on a wait list so that they're alerted when a product comes back into stock. So we'll talk about that more next week, but there are a lot of great options for you in that scenario. But definitely in this case, I would just recommend leaving those products available, but putting them on the last page or at the end of the page. Okay, yeah, so that is it for the blueprint this week. Those are all 10 of my top suggestions that we have. And we are going to move now into a live test setup. This week we are going to be using Optimizely. So this week Optimizely, this is what Optimizely looks like. We're doing a live test setup for Poo-Pourri. So this is the page that we are going to be doing a test on, the catalog all products page for Poo-Pourri. So in Optimizely, this is what you will look at. This is what all your tests will be in here. This is the overview. When you want to start a new experiment, you will click New Experiment, and you can just name it whatever you want. Oops, I'm logged out. Let me log back in real quick. Okay, we're back. So click New Experiment to start a new experiment, and you can name it whatever you want. And then you go ahead and click through to add in the link URL. Oops. I'm not going to name it right now because we're not actually going to push this live. We're just going to be walking through how to do it. So once you type in the URL that you want to do the test for, the code editor, visual editor will load here for you with that page all mocked up. Sometimes it takes a little bit to load. Once it loads, so you will see this page, the page of the URL that you entered, and it already automatically creates a variation. So you've got original up here, and then you've got variation 1, which you're automatically put on. So this is the one that we're going to edit. We're going to leave the original alone, obviously, and then we're going to edit variation number 1. The test that we're going to be doing today, pretty simple. We're just going to be removing the prices. This store is not a very high dollar store, but like I was saying earlier, I think that removing the prices can be beneficial for really any type of pricing. So in order to remove this, you have a couple of options. You can click on the price here, this element, and then you can just click remove, but that is pretty manual, and you would have to go through the entire page here and literally do that with every single price. Click remove, and that's going to take a long time. So what I like to do in cases like this is just edit the CSS. So you can come up here to options, the little settings grid here, and click experiment CSS. And so if you'll remember from the walkthrough last week, we talked a little bit about CSS and how you use this to change the style of any HTML element on your page. So before I do this, I guess I need to find out what the HTML element of this is. So click back on this. You can click Edit Element, and then we're going to click Edit Classes just to find out what the class is. So that'll open here, and it says that the CSS class is amount. So we know that the CSS class is amount for all these prices. So we're going to go back up here, click Experiment CSS. And so when you want to edit a class, you do a period first, and then you type in the name. So anything that has the class amount, we're going to add color, and we're just going to make it white. And the color code for white is 6Fs. And then that's really all we're going to do. It's going to add that CSS in there and click Apply. And you will see as soon as I did that, the prices disappeared. We just made them white, so they blend in with the background. You can also add in like a transparent color code if you don't know the color code for the background of this page, but I knew it was white, so I just made it that. So the prices are still there, but the users can't see them. I think that's really just the easiest way to do it. That way, when you want to go back in and add them back in, you can just delete that CSS and they'll come back. So we made the change that we want to make, and now the next step in creating this test is to do the audience targeting. So you click up here, this little icon here with the little people. It says audience targeting. Click on that. It'll open up this window. And what you can do is you can add a saved audience or create a new audience. Right now it is just showing to everyone, which is what I want to do for this test. If you don't want to show it to everyone, you can create a new audience by clicking this button here and go through all of these options over here to create a new audience. You can show it to people from a certain ad campaign only, people with a certain cookie on their browser, people only on a certain device. So if you want to just show this to desktop users and not mobile users, returning users only, really anything. There's so many different options here to create an audience. And then once you decide the parameters of that audience that you want to show this test to, you would drag and drop those there. You name it and save the description and then click save. We're just going to show this audience to everyone, so we're going to leave, or this test to everyone, so we're going to leave it as everyone. And then we're going to come down here and click done. So now audiences is set up. The only other thing now that we need to do is set up our goals. So you'll come up here to this icon next to the audiences and click set up goals. It'll open another little box here. And this is where you'll tell the test what you're tracking for. So what is going to determine success for this test? In this case, it automatically put in engagement, which is what I actually want. We want more engagement on this page, more click-throughs to the product detail pages. So right now it says we're tracking anyone who clicked any part of the experiment page. You can also, if you don't like that, create a new goal, name it, what to track. We would set up a custom event here if we wanted it to do something that wasn't already tracked, or we can do a URL. So if we want every product detail page has /product, so we want simple match anything that contains /product, and click save. Goal name, PDP views, save. So now, yes, we want to remove engagement. So I don't want to track everyone that just clicks everywhere. We really want to find out how many people clicked through to those product detail pages, because that is the main goal with removing those prices, is getting people to click through to find out what the prices are. So we'll save that now that we have our goal set up. We'll close this. And that is really it. So once you are, once everything is set up on this editing page, you've got audience targeting and setup goals ready. You can either start the experiment or save it. We're just going to save it. We're not going to push this live today because it needs client approval. But once you're done editing, you can move into interactive mode. And you won't be able to edit anything, but you can just interact with the page. So if you added any HTML or CSS that you want to interact with and make sure that it's working just as right, move back to editing mode. Prices are still on. And that's it. And then you'll just click Start Experiment when you're ready. You can go back to Home here. And view all the tests that you have set up. This is the test that we just set up. It says it's a draft. You can click on it to view the details. When you're ready, it'll pop up over here. You can go back into the editor. You can preview the test. You can edit your traffic allocation. So right now we've got 50-50. You can edit that to whatever you want. Goals are set up. Audience is set up. We're only showing it on this URL. And when you're ready, you can start it. And that's it for this week, guys. So thanks for joining me on the live walkthrough for week 4. I hope that this was helpful. Anyone who joined halfway through, don't worry. This will be available for replay as soon as we end this call. I'll end the video and it'll be posted directly onto the group page, and you guys can watch the entire replay from the beginning. If you have any other questions, guys, definitely put those in the comments and I'll try to answer those when I have a chance. And we will see you next week when we go over the product detail pages. We're getting farther and farther down the funnel, so this is really exciting. Again, thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.